All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as John Lynch went on KMBR this morning. Normally on a Friday, today on a Wednesday because the game is Thursday. And he talked about a number of topics. We will review it all next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili. My mouth is watering. And tell them that Krug sent you. And this video is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. We just won this week. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups, and you can win, like I won this week, real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Everybody who signs up automatically is entered into a drawing to win a 49er jersey of their choice. So once again, download the app. Make sure you use the promo code Niners and get that first deposit matched up to $200. All right, John Lynch was on KMBR today talking with Marcus Boucher and Brian Murphy on the KMBR Morning Show about a number of different things. And obviously, it's got to have it week, man. Niners are on a short week. They just lost to the Cardinals. They blew a big second half lead. And they're hurting. They're hurting. And they got to get this win on Thursday against Seattle. And unfortunately, it's in Seattle, which is a tough place to play. So let's go through some of the things that were said in this sit-down on KMBR. First of all, the Arizona loss was devastating, and Lynch said as much. He's like, it was a devastating loss. He also called it unacceptable, and it is. It is. He's like, we need to finish people. And it's funny because John Lynch's message this year is we need finishers. Coming off the Super Bowl, we didn't finish Kansas City. We need finishers. We need guys who are going to finish. And now they've blown two 10-point leads in the division in the first stretch of the year. So the way they lost to Arizona is unacceptable. Losing to Arizona at home is unacceptable when you have as much talent as the Niners do. And they just need to win. Whether they win big, win by a small margin, they just need to win. Doesn't matter where that win comes from, how they get it. They just need it any way it comes. He was asked about Mike McDonald, the former head coach of the Ravens, and obviously the Ravens had a lot of success on Christmas night against Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy. And Lynch said he's got a ton of respect for John Schneider as a general manager, and he really thinks McDonald was a great hire as a head coach. And the Niners have their work cut out for him Thursday night. I thought it was interesting that John called Seattle's weapons the best skill position group that the Niners will face all year. And I was thinking, God, there's got to be somebody better than that. I mean, do the Niners play Green Bay later this year? I mean, the Lions have great weapons. I think I would probably take the Lions' weapons of Laporta and Montgomery and Gibbs and Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra. And they play the Packers. I think the Packers have better weapons too. They play the Rams late in the year. If they have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, and Kyron Williams, those aren't bad weapons. But he thinks that this is the best group of weapons. This is Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet running the rock. Walker's the one, Charbonnet's the backup. It's Jackson Smith-Njigba running out of the slot. You got DK Metcalf, who's got incredible straight line speed. You got Lockett, who's a great route runner. You got the rookie tight end from Michigan, A.J. Barner. Geno's making good decisions. I mean, let's just say this. I don't agree that they're the best skill position group the Niners will face, but they're among the best skill position groups. He was asked, is this a must-win game? And I hate this question because, yes, it is a must-win game, okay? And yet there are other ways to look at it. Well, must-win means that if you don't win, that your season's over. Well, in my opinion, it is over because you're not, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. If you can't beat, if you can't beat the Arizona Cardinals at home, if you can't beat the Rams with no Puka, if you can't beat some of these teams, you're not beating Kansas City, Dallas, and some of these other teams on your schedule. So, yeah, it's a must win. It is a must-win game. You cannot lose 4 out of 5 and in the NFL and suddenly become a Super Bowl contender. If the Niners lose this game, they will go 0-3 in the division, and they will have 4 losses in the conference. No way. I don't know where they'll be going from that point on, but it will be an uphill battle. Not to mention that the Niners from this point on play the 5th toughest schedule of any team in pro football. So the schedule gets quite a bit tougher. So yeah, this is a must-win game. If they lose this game, they're going nowhere this year. They have to get this game against Seattle. But John was like, hey, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. You don't want to go 0-3 in the division. And basically Lynch's response to, is this a must-win game, was, it's go time. In other words, yes, this is a must-win game. It's time to get it done. He was asked about the defense, Nick Sorensen and Brandon Staley, and the job that they've done. And he's like, the results haven't been there. He said they're doing a good job coaching, but the results haven't been there, and it's a results-oriented business. And at least twice, maybe 3 times, Lynch said, we need to come together as a defensive unit, as if to suggest that they're not together. And this is really an alarming comment. And to me, this is one of the major takeaways. Why, if you went in-house for the continuity hire, then why is there an adjustment period? There would be an adjustment period if you went to a new scheme, but you didn't. There would be an adjustment period if you went outside the building, but you didn't. You hired Nick Sorensen. Why? Because of the continuity of having the same scheme and not having to have all this change. So you should have hit the ground running. So this, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give Sorensen any grace period at the beginning of this year for, oh, it's early, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. You're not getting results, okay? And you were supposed to be the reason that this team, continuity was the reason you were hired. And this defense doesn't look tied together. So I got to really question Sorensen and Staley and the job that they're doing. I don't know about the effort. At the end of the day, I don't really care about the effort. Try hard is the constant variable. Every team in the NFL has got a room full of people that are trying hard. Don't tell me you're trying hard. Get it done. Don't tell me I tried. When I had to do game plans in the Canadian League, I couldn't be like, well, I didn't get my work done, but I tried. Yeah, I would have been fired if I said that. Okay, that's the standard is higher than we tried. Okay, so don't tell me you tried. I assume you tried. I'm banking that you're trying. I need results. And the 49ers want results, and they're not getting them. Now, I'm not going to blame Sorensen for the fact that Devondre Campbell can't cover, unless it was Sorensen who banged the table this summer or this spring and said, get me Devondre Campbell. If he did, then he's responsible. If he didn't, then Devondre Campbell can't play. He can't play dead. He's not making tackles. He missed 5 in the last 2 weeks. He's given up 21 receptions on 24 targets. What would you say you do here? Kyler Murray ran right by him untouched on a 50-yard touchdown run. Campbell's an embarrassment right now. They have to get him off the field. Now, is Sorensen the reason that Campbell can't play? No. Is Sorensen the reason that their defensive tackles can't play the run? No. Is Sorensen the reason that Nick Bosa got only 2 pressures this week? No. Is Sorensen the reason that the Niner defensive backfield is slow? No. Is Sorensen the reason that this team probably doesn't have a free safety? No. So I don't know that we can blame Sorensen for everything that ails the Niners on the defensive side of the ball. But he did say, Lynch said at least twice, we need to come together. And the fact that they're not together is an indictment of Sorensen. And then 29 missed tackles over the last 2 games. That is unacceptable. John wants to say certain things are unacceptable. 29 missed tackles in 2 games is completely unacceptable. So where do you come in on the Sorensen blame? I blame him because it's his job, but I don't blame him for the lack of talent, and that's a big part of the equation as well. Lynch was asked about, is Robert Saleh, what's your thoughts on Saleh? I mean, everybody knows the thinking. Saleh was fired in New York. He was good as the defensive coordinator here. Maybe he'd come back and be the defensive coordinator here. Lynch said that he talked to Saleh, or that they traded texts, and that his plan is to sit out the rest of this year. As far as the future, Lynch was like, who knows, can't read the future. He gave an endorsement to Sorensen, an endorsement to Staley, and he basically said that, Saleh will not be coaching here this year, but he left things open in the future, so we shall see. And then Talanoa Hufanga was brought up. He's out, and Malik Mustapha is stepping in at free safety. And Lynch said Mustapha plays fast. He plays without hesitation. He's ready for the challenge. So there you go. In goes Malik Mustapha. I'm not convinced that this isn't an upgrade. I mean, Hufanga's struggling in coverage. He's falling off blocks. He's underpowered. He's not fast. He's not great in coverage. Mustapha's a bigger hitter, better athlete, better mover, not the same incredible instincts and smarts and film study that Hufanga possesses. But Mustapha's probably bigger, stronger, faster, and tougher, and better hitter, and probably better in coverage. So we'll see. I mean, this is going to be really interesting to watch. Hufanga is thought to be like their best defensive back in some ways. Some people feel like, he's overrated. I think he's a great guy who's a solid football player who I think because of the hair and the way he looks like, Palomalu, and he went to SC, I think he had some big games early on. I think he is a little overrated, to be honest. And I think Mustapha might be an upgrade on Hufanga, so we'll see. Talanoa, if you're watching this, I love you, brother, but I do think Mustapha could be an upgrade. Mooney Ward, Lynch was asked about Mooney Ward. He just said he needs to play better. He needs to play better. He needs to play big. There's no question. Mooney Ward is against DK Metcalf's a major matchup advantage for the Niners. Ward's had nothing but success against DK, but DK, will he travel with DK? Can he control DK and keep him under wraps? We're going to find out. But Mooney needs to play. And then Lynch finished up by was talking about Brock Purdy, and they were asking him about Brock and how he feels about Brock and the way he played. And he just kind of fighting back against this notion that Brock somehow was really bad last week. And I would push back on that as well. It wasn't his best game, but John said, I have just so much belief in Brock. It's just, you can tell that, he expects Brock to bounce back, and they like what they're seeing with Brock. I don't think they're blaming Brock because they see the all-22 and they see the receivers not getting separation. They see their line doesn't always stand up, and they know Brock's got to run around to make plays, and that's what's going on. And as far as this game, I mean, it's a gotta-have-it game. Gotta-have-it game for the 49ers. It's as simple as that. They got to win this game. Doesn't matter if they win big or if they win a tight one. Reek Woolen, the safety or the corner for the Seahawks, has given up a 1.7 quarterback passer rating on throws when he's in coverage. That's the lowest quarterback passer rating I think I've ever seen. So, I mean, I think message there is don't throw it at Reek Woolen. One thing, though, you got to feel good about, we'll leave you on an uptick note here. The Niners still rank first in the NFC with 6.3 yards per offensive play. So, do they have problems on offense? Yeah. I think Shanahan gets too pass happy. I think the line breaks down when it's obvious passing situations. I think the receivers aren't gaining the kind of separation they have in the past. And so Brock either has to run around or throw more 50-50 balls. So I think there's some issues on offense, but they still rank first in the NFC, 6.3 yards per offensive play. So to me, this is really about, the defense and the special teams. They got to play a clean game on special teams. They can't lose the game on special teams. You've got to make Seattle drive the length of the field. You can't let them get over the top. They're going to watch that film of Jefferson getting deep and Atwell getting deep, and they're going to try to get deep with DK Metcalf. So you can bank on at least 2 or 3 big-time, Hail Mary, deep balls down the field from Geno to DK, and how well do the Niners defend that? It's go time. As John Lynch said, it's go time. Is this a must-win game? It's go time. The Niners have to get this one if they want to be alive, in the NFC in any real meaningful way. So good luck to them Thursday night. Thanks to Pig in a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Better for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.